Hey everyone, and welcome to my new series for the Doctor Who story. What I'm calling Ranking the Doctors. Basically, after I complete a new Doctor story, I want to go back, do some quick comparison and contrasting between all the Doctors that I've talked about so far, and rank them. Really quick, I want to establish that this is all just personal opinion. So you may have a different thought than I do, currently or in the future. So please just be respectful of my opinion, and I will respect yours. Really quick, the big idea here is just to look at a few different aspects and then just give my personal ranking. So there are no points, there are no leads. It's just, I felt like talking about this. And really quick, I want to establish 100% for sure so far, William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton were perfect fits as they were for the Doctor. So Hartnell to start, excellent idea. Patrick Troughton to continue the story, excellent idea. Okay, so I love them both. I don't go, oh my god, this one's terrible and he sucks and I hate him. Clear? Okay. To start things off, I'm just going to go over the categories for you and give some quick explanations. Basically, my likes and dislikes for each Doctor. There are going to be some things that you're like, oh man, I love that about this Doctor, or I hate that about this Doctor. This includes things like outfits, appearance, mannerisms, etc. Just, what did I like, what did I not like that I saw the Doctor doing? Let's see, what did that Doctor introduce to the series? Obviously, going into the first two, I'm going to have a lot of, very basic things like, oh, the TARDIS, and oh, he travels with different people, and stupid crap, but it's important to talk about, I feel. Let's see, what did their adventures do for the universe at large? This is a lot of, me just looking at the story arcs and going, okay, like, what impact does this really have? Because there's a whole lot of crazy stuff that they go through. Some arcs are just, oh, hey, we showed up and we did some stuff and then we left. But there are things like combating the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Ice Warriors that have major, results that I want to talk about. And finally, just where do I personally rank them? Who's number one, who's number two, and then in the future it's going to be 3, 4, 5. So yeah, just give me a minute. I'm going to divide everything up into its own little section, so we have time to think and digest everything, of course. So give me 1 second, and I will get back to you with the likes and dislikes for the first two Doctors. Alright everyone, so let's talk about what my likes and dislikes for each Doctor were. Basically, again, this is just, appearance, mannerisms, and just what did the actor do that I liked and didn't like. Because Hartnell was number one, I'm going to talk about him first. So what were the things that I really liked about Mr. Hartnell? Well, first off, he was a very intelligent guy. He came up against some hairy situations. Daleks, Cybermen, other people who were just, like, not very friendly. And he figured out some cool plans, some creative ideas to combat the situation. So, intelligence, for a guy known as the Doctor. Okay, I guess it's not very shocking, but I appreciated that. Charisma. Oh my god, like, he was very good, charismatic. And like, okay, you see, a mature gentleman dressed, in nice clothing. You're probably going to talk to him and respect him as leader better than you're going to talk to me, the guy in cargo shorts and a red camo shirt. Because, yeah, he's got his stuff together. He knows what's up. He's got his finger on the pulse. I'm not going to tell you where my finger is. It's far from the pulse, though. But, yeah, so he was a good ambassador. He could talk... He could talk to people very well. He could explain their situation. He could convince them, oh, we are just, a group of travelers who just stumbled upon this. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. And just, people are like, okay, sir, just watch your step. So, legit. And then, of course, We have compassion. Now, in the beginning, it was Hartnell and Susan, who I forget who she was played by, but anyway, their story was two rogue aliens just on the run from the people of Gallifrey because they had taken the time machine and just decided to do what they wanted. So in the beginning Hartnell wasn't very trusting. Are these people going to betray me? Are they going to do bad things? So, he was very gruff and mean, and just, it kind of turned me off in the beginning, unfortunately, I have to say, but it made sense. There was a logical point to it. But as he traveled with Susan, Ian, Barbara, Stephen, Vicky, Ben, Polly, etc., they got through the hard outer shell. They got to the man inside, and he started to soften, and he became kind of a nicer guy, and I really appreciated that. Because he would fight to the death to protect Susan, and, if his friends were going to put themselves in a dangerous situation, he would let them know his opinion. Like, are you freaking insane? This could get you killed, and you're still going to do it. And, I mean, that's cool, because he cares. And then, finally, his academic curiosity. Was every new place they went to, he was like, oh man, I need to go out there, I need to meet the people, I need to see what's going on here, and why they do this and that, and it's kind of infectious. And I really like that. Unfortunately, he was not without his faults, and I have some bad points that I have to say. One of the big things was he could be manipulative, and this is best showcased in the Daleks arc. Basically, the entire reason that they go out onto the planet Skaro, where the Daleks are, is because the Doctor tells everyone, oh no, we must go out and procure some mercury because this console isn't working, and otherwise we can't leave the planet. This was a blatant lie, he told everyone, which put them in danger because they ran across the Daleks. And what's worse is they faced another serious danger that the Doctor didn't even know about. Basically, there were high levels of radiation on the planet itself. They have sensors obviously within the TARDIS to, say, oh hey, is there air on this planet? And just other things to, can we walk out there and survive? Well, Susan was checking the console. Doctor asked her, hey, how does everything look? And she's like, oh, everything checks out spiff. And, yeah. So, they go off to explore a bit. And, the camera's still on the console, and it shows the dial moving from, okay radiation levels to, oh my god, serious danger levels. Not something he knew about, but something he could have prevented. But also, I would like to address that because they stopped on the planet Skaro, they were able to face the Daleks and stop them from activating a radioactive bomb that would have destroyed the planet. And as we'll see later with the series, the Daleks were not just fine with taking over Skaro, they wanted to take over other planets. And, maybe this put a small hurdle in front of them. So it was important, but still to lie to your friends, manipulate them, kind of frown upon that, Mr. Hartnell, just saying. Not a good that does now, but hey. It's good writing, at least, I'll give it that. God, he was arrogant, for real. In the very beginning, whenever Ian and Barbara show up in the junkyard and find the TARDIS, when they doubt the machine, he's like, oh, well, you don't believe it works? Fine then, I'm going to, activate the device and show you. Harumph. It said to me that he had some self-esteem issues, which, go figure, I can kind of relate to. And it could be kind of annoying at times. It wasn't, character-breakingly bad, but definitely just, what the crap, guys? What the crap, dude? Chill. You don't have to be the best at everything forever. But, hey. And now, I can move on to Mr. Troughton, the second Doctor. Honestly, with Troughton, I could say a lot of the same things. He was intelligent, he was compassionate, he was a good growth for the Doctor, and I really appreciated him. So, what did I like? Besides those obvious things, the big one is the relationship with his companions. Hartnell, I would say he was a strict schoolmaster. He was good and kindly, and he would expect maybe a bit more from people. But I liked Troughton because he was like the kind uncle. You know, he would, you know, joke with you, be friends with you, and just, he was a nice, pleasant person to be around. And I really liked that. You know, and he definitely had a very strong relationship with Jamie, his longest running companion for his time as the Doctor. You know, I felt like Jamie was almost like a son to him. So that was cool. He was clever. Like, not to be mean, but I felt like Troughton's version of the Doctor was not as intelligent as Hartnell's version. So he had to rely a bit more on street smarts at times, you know, manipulating people, making them think he was someone else, and just other things. And, you know, he did it well. Like I remember the Scottish Highlands, you know, he revealed himself, oh, I'm the Doctor. And British soldiers were like, oh, the German doctor that we've been looking for, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he used that knowledge to get into their base, find out their plans, and ultimately help some people escape. So that was good. But of course, there are things I didn't like. For instance, he was very easily ruffled and overwhelmed. Now, again, I think I've established this, but I have some anxiety at times. Like, oh, hey, a big scary guy walks up to me and is like, hey, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Like, oh, God, why no? Is going to be my reaction. And I feel like Troughton had that at times, too. Like, obviously, if you're facing off with a Dalek or a Cyberman, you're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to beat the crap out of you easily if you're like a 40-plus-year-old guy. Sorry. Just saying. And, you know, at times it was done a bit more for comedic effect and just being over the top and ridiculous. But, you know, it showed some character weakness at times, I felt like. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but I don't know. It's just, it wasn't as good. And so, like, it was kind of a turn-off at times, but what do you expect? And then, the Power of the Daleks arc. Oh my God! It was infuriating. Like, basically, this is the first arc for Troughton, and his character is just so off the wall, nuts, annoying. Sorry. But, basically, one of the big things is he's fiddling around with his flute/recorder a lot. So, like, Ben or Paul is asking him, like, a serious question, like, okay, Doctor, like, what are we doing? It was just like, doo like, on the flute. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Why are you being so childish right now? Stop doing that. Later we find out there was a point to it. Basically, they got taken onto, you know, an Earth colony that was on the planet Vulcan. And the Doctor had suspicions that the, you know, overseer of the area was spying on them, so he didn't want to reveal too much information to them. But still, like, God, you were so annoying with that stupid flute. Sorry. You know what? And pretty much that was it for what I didn't like. So, you know, I will stop here. And I will move on to what they brought to the series in a moment. I want to give you some guys some time to digest all this information. So, once now that we have likes and dislikes out of the way, let's move on to what did the Doctor bring to the series. Obviously, we're in the first two, so I'm going to be hitting a lot of big things like, hey, did you know he travels in the TARDIS? I know, right? But there are some other things here as well that I want to talk about. Of course, I'm going to start with Hartnell, and the very first point is the TARDIS. You know, the mystical, you know, police box that travels through space and time that they use to obviously get across the galaxy. But one of the things that I really liked was they had some detail things about the TARDIS that were shown throughout the series. Like, how do we open the doors? Or just different devices for, like, you know, clothing, material generation, etc. Because, hey, you're traveling across the cosmos, but sometimes you need something to eat, you need to sleep, you need different clothes to wear, etc. And they, sprinkled little bits of like, oh, hey, here's this little device, and here's that little device, and da-da-da. And it was a nice little touch, and I appreciate that. So the TARDIS is definitely worth noting, of course. Next up, we have the Daleks, the #1 enemy for Doctor Who that everyone knows. Like, you walk around and say, exterminate. People will get that. Or if you say, don't take your eyes off the statue, they'll get that because of Weeping Angels. But that is not now. They have not lasted 50 years, so they do not get the respect of Daleks. Just saying. But, yeah. So I think I covered all those points, actually, really quick. But it's cool to know that they start out like as the second or third arc of the series. And that's just crazy awesome, and I love that. So 50 years later, they're still going. The Cybermen. Another mainstay villain that have lasted 50 plus years. They are introduced in the 10th Planet, and they do make several more appearances throughout the series. And it's just cool, like seeing, just seeing them like Daleks, 50 years later, hey, we're still fighting these things. They're still relevant and scary and intimidating, and it's cool. Of course, companions. It started out with the Doctor and Susan traveling through time and space because that's what the Doctor wanted to do, and he wanted to show Susan the universe. But, of course, there are also other people that get involved in this. The curious teachers that are checking up on their students. The prisoner on the planet who... the prisoner on a planet who is saved by the Doctor and crew and doesn't want to stay on an exploding planet and just... There are just a multitude of reasons for companions to join up with the Doctor. And it's cool meeting these characters and getting to see, some of these characters who are just wide-eyed and just like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I never thought I would get to see, the Aztec temples or Rome or this or that. And some characters who get to give some good back and forth with the Doctor too. That's pretty nice. So, companions are a big deal in the series. And then moving on to what Mr. Troughton brought to the series. Regeneration. Obviously, it's the big thing because it's one of the big things that gives the series its longevity. And Troughton was the first regeneration. He showed us that the show can go on if the star can't continue for whatever reason. So, yeah. And I think it's kind of a big deal, obviously. But I felt like it needed to be addressed. He showed us regeneration works. A different guy can play the same character, and it's fine. The sonic screwdriver. Again, it's not the big deal that it becomes later on in the series, like definitely with the modern era. But it gets its start. Everything starts somewhere. This started, oh god, where was it? Oh, in Fury from the Deep. Basically, just as a, I'm hearing some strange stuff from this pipe that's extracting, gas from the earth or whatever it was doing. I'm going to check it out. That's strange. It says there's like some creature inside this. Oh my god. So, it was introduced there. Just saying. We also have the Ice Warriors. Not a big bad guy like the Daleks and the Cybermen. They're not as well known, but they're still scary creatures, and they do make some appearances in the modern era. So they're noteworthy for that. And then we have Lethbridge Stewart. He's a big character in the classic era. He literally works with pretty much every Doctor except for, it's either 5 or 6. So from like season 6 when he's introduced through season 26, he's pretty much in every season at least once or twice. He's also kind of the liaison between the Doctor and the people of Earth because he's working with UNIT, the United Nations International Task Force. Basically, the Men in Black of the 1960s London. If there's some creepy, scary stuff going bump in the night, these guys are bumping back. And hopefully not getting slaughtered by Yetis in the subway systems. That happened, and it sucked. Or facing off with Wotan's war machines, which, yeah, that happened, and it sucked. Whoosh. But, yeah, so, it was cool. So, that's cool. And those are the big things that the two Doctors brought to the series. The TARDIS, companions, and just other interesting elements. And so we can move on to their adventures and what they ultimately did. So, one sec, everyone. Okay. So, the adventures of the first two Doctors. You know, obviously traveling through time and space across the universe, you're going to see and hear some crazy things. And you're going to do some things that are definitely going to affect the galaxy at large. And sometimes you're just going to stop off, see some stuff, and then just go away. And nothing relevant will have happened. Well, this is about the relevant things, the big things. So, I'm dreading this, I'm sorry. It's a lot, and it's very wordy. What were some of Hartnell's adventures? Well, to start, he found the Daleks on Skaro, and was able to prevent their detonation of a radioactive device that would have destroyed the entire planet. Basically, at this point, the Daleks ran off of extreme radiation for some reason. And yeah, they were going to do that so that they could power themselves and do more things. But he stopped that. He stopped the device known as the Conscience of Marinus. Basically, this was a device that was intended to take the evil intentions out of people's minds. However, another group saw the possibilities of this and wanted to use it as a weapon. I think the idea was, put evil intentions into people's minds and just, watch chaos. Pretty much just consume a city, a planet, a whatever. The Doctor and crew were able to combat this, though, by gathering up the keys and taking one of the keys with them so that the device was inoperable. There was a forgery of one of the keys of Marinus that was put in the machine. Unfortunately, it caused the machine to malfunction and just destroy itself. So, it was stopped. So we don't have to worry about that because of the Doctor and crew. Another arc dealing with 1960s Earth. In the Land of Giants arc. There was a scientist working on this pesticide that was supposed to keep bugs and stuff away from crops and such. Unfortunately, the formula for this would have made the crops very poisonous and would have killed millions of people. But luckily, the Doctor and crew were able to stop the mass production and sale of this product, of this pesticide that would have killed millions. Unfortunately, the Daleks found their way to Earth in the 2100s and destroyed most of humanity, enslaving many of those who were still left alive and leaving just small pockets of resistance here and there. The Doctor and crew were able to turn back the Daleks that were stationed in London. But yeah, so he kind of saved the world, I think, after it was truly destroyed. He inspired Caesar Nero to burn the city of Rome so that he could rebuild it in the way that he wanted to. Yeah, unfortunately not all of the major things are going to be positive, guys. Although, honestly, most of them are. He stopped the monk from changing Earth history. Basically, he wanted to interfere in the Battle of Hastings. That would have just... I don't know what it would have done, but it could have had some ill effects on time. Let's see, they stopped the Dalek Alliance that would have ultimately destroyed the entire galaxy with a device known as the Time Destructor. Basically, from what I recall, this device would have just accelerated rot and decay of things. Unfortunately, in doing this, it did cost the lives of two companions. Katerina, a young woman from ancient Greece who got just swept up in the whole traveling on the TARDIS thing, and a woman known as Sarah Kingdom. Basically, she was a security officer for the planet Earth. Like, not like, oh, I'm the head of this organization, but she was a security person, and it sucks that she died. In 1966, the Doctor helped to stop the device known as Wotan from making machines of war that would have ultimately, destroyed the planet and the people. Think Terminator with Skynet. It was literally that. Like, like 18 years prior in London. Suck it. Although Wotan's machines weren't very subtle. And honestly, I would have appreciated it a little bit if they were like, hey, that's kind of similar to what a Dalek looks like. But it wasn't, just to be clear. Wotan did not make the Daleks. Just saying. Whew. And his final adventure saw the Cybermen from Mondus come to Earth and try to basically take Earth's energy to refuel their planets. And yeah, but the Doctor and crew were able to turn them back. This was in the 1980s, I believe. 86, 87, something like that. Basically, if the Doctor and crew hadn't shown up, well, we would have been overwhelmed and screwed. And then, what did Mr. Troughton bring? In 2020, the inactive Daleks that are found on the planet Vulcan, and some of the scientists on the colony there wants to reactivate them. Basically, they want to use them for like menial labor, custodial work, etc. The Doctor's obviously against this because he knows the Daleks. He knows that they're going to destroy them ultimately, given half the chance. Some do get activated, but the Doctor is able to turn back the Daleks and save the colony. Unfortunately, some people do get killed in the process. The crew find the lost city of Atlantis. And a scientist there plans to raise the city from the depths. Unfortunately, the Doctor has concerns that his plan will ultimately, create a serious rupture in the planet that could ultimately lead to Earth's destruction. He was able to stop him, though. So, hey, thank you for allowing us to keep having Earth. In 2070, the Doctor and crew say the moon base that is essential to controlling the Earth's weather. Basically, the Cybermen had come to the moon base, that controlled Earth's weather and wanted to use it because, hey, we gotta get Earth resources and all that stuff. In 1960s London, they come across a group of aliens known as the Chameleons. Basically, they were abducting people who went onto the airport through a certain airline, Chameleon Air or something like that, and basically assuming their identities. I forget what the ultimate plan was, but yeah, that's not very nice. Let's see, the Doctor and crew also destroyed the Dalek Emperor. Basically, in the arc known as the Evil of the Daleks are looking for what they call the human element. Basically, like our spirit or willpower that allowed the Doctor and crew to turn the Daleks back at several turns. The fight ultimately leads them to the planet Skaro, where the Doctor and crew are able to destroy the Dalek Emperor. Let's see, in the Tomb of the Cybermen, the Doctor and crew find a large craft that houses many Cybermen and are able to seal up the tomb so that the Cybermen can't get out and wreak havoc. So that's good. Thanks to the Doctor's resemblance to a man who is essentially trying to become a world dictator, the man known as Salamander, he's able to pose as the man and stop him from taking over through evil means. Oh my god, there's so much more to go. I'm sorry, it's so hot. In 1960s London, the crew come across a military operation in the subway tunnels under London and turn back the being known as the Great Intelligence from basically taking over with its Yeti-like monsters, this weird webbing / fungus that kills people that touch it, and just all this other crazy crap. They save the North Sea from evil sentient sea foam that was taking over people's minds and just doing awful things. Almost done. The Doctor and crew repel the Cyberman invasion of the Earth's space station known as the Wheel in Space. Cybermen are trying to get to Earth because, hey, resources and stuff. On 1960s Earth, the Doctor and crew come across Colonel Lethbridge Stewart again and are tasked with infiltrating International Electromatics because it is believed the head of the company, a man known as Tobias Vaughn, is trying to bring in an alien invasion. Which he was, the Cybermen, and we were able to turn them back. So suck it, Cybermen. You suck! Seriously, oh my god. And like I said at that point, that was Zoe's shining moment. Okay, I got the calculations to tell you which rockets to blow up so that we take out the entire invading fleet. So just saying, suck on that, you stupid metal dorks. Sorry. And finally, in the War Games arc, the Doctor and crew find themselves caught up in a strange simulation of battle run by another Time Lord known as the War Chief. They are able to align themselves with the human soldiers, and in order to return them to their homes, the Doctor must contact Gallifrey and get help, which he does, but unfortunately, the Time Lords at that time say, well, now that we found you, we need to put you on trial for taking the TARDIS and interfering with time and just all this other crap. And those were their adventures, so they did a lot of good traveling the universe and doing all these different things. And now we move on to probably the hardest category for me to talk about, which is going to be my personal ranking of the doctors. But again, here's some time to digest all that stuff that I just rattled off for you. So give me a minute and I will be right back. You ready for this? Really quick, one more time, I want to stress this is my personal opinion. The opinion of Brad O'Brien. I'm just saying. This is not some official, like, oh, I did all the research and according to points, this guy's better. This is my opinion. My opinion. I'm sure you have your opinions on, like, oh, I like this doctor better than that doctor, and they may be the same as mine or they may be different. I don't know. I don't care. The point is, I'm not going to be mean to you about them. I'm sharing mine because I have a platform. And, you know, it will spark some debate, hopefully. Not mean debate like, you suck, bye. Like, for real. So, I will give myself a quick little drum roll. Drum roll, please. I gotta work on sound effects. The doctor that I rank currently as number 1 is going to be Patrick Troughton. And the doctor that I rank as number 2 currently is going to be William Hartnell. Now, to explain myself, so hopefully you're not as mad at me, why do I put Troughton above Hartnell? Hartnell was number 1. We can all agree on that, because he started the series. But, honestly, personally, it just comes down to, as a human being, you know, Troughton's doctor was just a kinder, friendlier person. He was a bit more relatable, so that just drew me to him. He was the kind uncle to his companions, he was always friendly, and he was very peaceful. You know, that's not to say Hartnell wasn't similar to that, but he was, like I said before, he was like a strict headmaster. You know, he could be kind and friendly to you, but at times he could be a real jerk. Like, just saying, no offense. You know, whereas Troughton, he wasn't really a jerk. He could be annoying at times. You know, the evil of the Daleks. Sorry, power of the Daleks. God, why did you guys do that? But, you know, it doesn't make him a bad guy. And it doesn't make Hartnell any worse than him. It just means, hey, I like this person because he was nice and friendly and he wasn't so mean. So really, I'm saying to you right now, it boils down to, which doctor was less mean? And that may be stupid logic to go on, but you know what? I don't care. It's my personal opinion. If you guys like it, dislike it, that's fine. If you want to debate it, hey, feel free to talk to me about it somewhere in the comments, on my Facebook. If you see me in person, just don't start swinging fists, because that's very uncalled for. So I liked Troughton. And also, I want to back up my liking of Troughton with a few important facts. Number 1, Troughton was a few years younger than Mr. Hartnell was, so he could be more lively and animated. He could be the over-the-top, oh my god, there's a Dalek there, oh, what do I do? Or like, yes, well, you know, he could do those things a bit more than Hartnell could. Because toward the end of the series, unfortunately, he did have to step down because of health reasons. So that's a big thing. Another big thing is the fact that Troughton was working in an established series at that point. You know, they had better funding, they had better special effects and stuff like that. Hartnell had to start from the very beginning. He had to convince the audience from the start, like, hey, please stay with me. I'm going to entertain you, I'm going to teach you, and it's going to be fun and great. You know, Troughton got to step on the train when things were already rolling pretty well. So, he in some regards, he had an easier time, I want to say. But he also had the very serious challenge of, I have to pick up where this man left off. And he did wonderfully, and I love that. And one of the big things that I've kept stressing is, he felt like a wonderful growth of the character. And I think maybe that's also a very big part of why I like him better, because he was some good character growth. Hartnell had the character growth from being, you know, I have to protect myself and Susan because I don't know you and I don't trust you, to, you know, I've traveled with you for some time. You know, and I've grown attached to you, and that's cool. And so, that is it. This is the end of the month of the Second Doctor. You know, Mr. Trout and Mr. Hartnell, I hope you can appreciate all of the talking that I've done about you both so far. But I need to close the book on this story and press onward to see Jonathan Pertwee, who is the third Doctor, and so on and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you, as always, with my personal advice. Have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated, and of course remember, every character has a story to tell. I'm Valiant Bradley James, the character investigator.